Hey, Heather, at the end of yesterday's otherwise peaceful march, some members of the group Border Guardians burned a Mexican flag right here in this area. Now, 6 people were arrested in the wake of confrontations after that, but other apparent assaults showed up in pictures taken by our Fox 11 photojournalist, Ruben Fuentes, and police saw those pictures last night on our air. Thousands marched to Armory Park yesterday for a peaceful rally against current immigration laws. Law enforcement watched but didn't interfere. Their job to keep the area secure.
For the most part, everything went according to plan yesterday.
More than 10,000 people, looking that way, facing that way to the stage. There was a couple hundred people trying to see what he was going to do here in this area here. And I was just trying to get close to the action.
Action that started a couple hours after the rally started when Roy Warden and members of the group Border Guardians burned a Mexican flag.
I'm completely convinced at this point of the lawfulness of our activity.
It seems very unusual to us that they would be given permission to do that in exactly the same place. We had permits, we had insurance.
No, we don't need a permit, and the police don't assert our need to a permit.
There is no restriction that can be placed on anybody in terms of going into a park to exercise their free speech.
Fox 11 photojournalist Ruben Fuentes stood by to get the flag burning on video.
I couldn't step inside the circle because there was a group of people, peacekeepers, holding up a line by holding hands.
Members of the counter people that we were opposing provided security for us.
And he just put his hands on my lens.
Several people refused, including members of the media, and I had several communications with them.
Police say someone threw a water bottle at Warden and members of his group after they burned the flag. Several arrests followed, along with physical contact between marchers and police. One officer pulled his gun out.
We'll have the chain of command look to see whether or not proper protocols were followed. At this point, we really don't know what was going through the officer's mind. Warren was cited today. He's charged with assault, criminal damage, and reckless burning. Klein says police are still reviewing the tape submitted by us and other stations in the area, and they say more people could be cited.
I'm protected by federal law, and I am absolutely protected in my right of free speech. I can go any place I want in this county. I can speak on these issues, and if your police department is not delegated to protect me, I'm empowered to use deadly force to protect my own life. Now, this is what it's going to mean. It's going to mean I'm going to have a perimeter. I'm going to speak through a loudspeaker down in the barrio any place I want. And if people try to kill me, try to overrun my position, I will discharge a shotgun in their face. Do you understand?
You people are responsible for tens of thousands of American citizens who've been raped, beaten, and murdered as a consequence of illegal aliens in this country. You've done it for money. You've done it for profit. And it's all coming to an end.
Kill any man, woman, or child that comes across the border. I'll bet you kill enough of them right off the bat, but people stop coming over that way. That's what I just said. Personally, I think a minefield would be good. Why build a fence to plant some mines? And be fair about it. Put signs up in Spanish on the other side, warning them. Enter at your own risk. I'd be fair.
So
if you're stupid enough to try it, then you get blown up. Oh well.
I mean, you just said that you would kill kids. I mean,
if they're being drugged across the border, hell yeah. See, that's the difference between those people and us. Our country is number one. Here's.
Are you still all for killing babies at the border?
Crossing illegally.
If they're crossing illegally, you believe that even the babies should be shot?
I'm all for shooting to kill anyone that crosses our border illegally. They're invaders.
They crossed the fence with their buddies that got crossed with them. The little brown amigos. Nobody can claim them. Nobody can harvest them. They just walk free, kind of like the illegal Mexican.
No, you ought to be able to shoot the Mexicans on sight, and that would end the problem. After 2 or 3 Mexicans are shot, they'll stop crossing the border, and they'll take their cows home, too.
Close our borders! Close our borders now! He's a fixture at local anti-immigration rallies in Phoenix, J.T. Reddy, who twice ran for public office and lost. He also openly campaigned for state lawmaker Russell Pierce, seen in this photograph with Pierce on Reddy's webpage.
We're always put into the we're anti-immigration, or we're against something. I'm actually for America. I'm for sovereignty, and I'm for our rich European American culture, which we have here, which has made this nation great.
He advocates a nation for whites only.
I'd like to see sovereignty once again restored somewhere on this planet where white people can peacefully enjoy their culture.
Reddy recently sat down with a Fox 10 News producer to talk about his strongly held beliefs.
Do you consider yourself a National Socialist?
National Socialist, I am.
Weren't Nazis considered National Socialists?
Well, there's a term that starts with an N for calling black people, too. So I think that the N term for National Socialists, by calling them the Nazis, is the same thing.
There's no honor in this country when it is represented by scum. Scum that can't pay. Scum that are spoiled on the taxes of hardworking soldiers, citizens, and families of this country. You do not deserve to speak because you are unspoken for.
More than anyone else at the rally, J.T. Reddy embodies the link between white supremacist ideology and mainstream conservative politics. J.T. was a Republican precinct committeeman in Phoenix and a candidate for the Arizona House of Representatives. His writing appeared on mainstream conservative websites, and he regularly spoke at rallies with powerful Arizona political figures. J.T. is a former Marine and was also an early collaborator with the vigilante groups that patrol the Mexican border. They call themselves Minutemen, after the citizens' militias of the American Revolution. Here Reddy is in 2004 with Chris Simcox, the founder of the Minuteman Civil Defense Corps.
Chris Simcox, founder of Civil Homeland Defense. J.T. Reddy, candidate for Arizona House.
J.T. was a rising star in the Republican Party, but after Obama's election, he came out publicly as a member of the National Socialist Movement, which he now proclaims proudly on his license plate. J.T. agreed to meet with us, but he wanted to do the interview out in the middle of the desert on Highway 88.
What I'm fighting for primarily at this point is the survival of the white race.
J.T. says that white Americans have been dispossessed and sees America teetering on the edge of a crisis in which their very survival is at stake.
Any event which sparks this off, it could be during an election time, it could be the assassination of a prominent leader on either side, things could erupt. Now, within the white movement, we call it RAHOA, racial holy war. And I do believe in a racial holy war, and I believe that we are already fighting that, except that our side hasn't even begun to fight back yet. So we're trying to awaken our people for survival.
I'm Heather Rowe. A man with known ties to extremist groups is organizing a volunteer patrol tomorrow in Pinal County.
And he's telling people to come armed. Jason J.T. Reddy is asking people to show up in the Bacal Valley, that's west of Casa Grande. That's the same desert area where authorities say drug smugglers shot a sheriff's deputy back in April, inflaming border tensions. And tonight, sheriff's deputies don't want those tensions inflamed even more. Tonight, KOLD News 13's Teresa Junn talked with the man making the call to arms.
It's been nearly 2 months since we watched this scene unfold in Pinal County. A sheriff's deputy shot in a busy smuggling corridor. Well, this weekend, a group of citizens is arming themselves, vowing to fight back.
We're going to block the narco-terrorists that come up through this Bacal Valley area.
Mesa resident Jason J.T. Reddy is organizing a gathering of people from Arizona, California, even as far away as New York, who want to help beef up patrols along the border. The group plans to specifically target this corridor where smuggling activity has gotten so dangerous, these signs have gone up warning people to stay away.
This is the Minuteman Project on steroids. We've got people with assault weapons. We will use lawful, deadly force where appropriate.
But Pinal County Sheriff Paul Babu responds, quote, though I appreciate their support and offer to take up arms and patrol, this would not be helpful and would only cause a strain on already strained resources, and their safety needs to be a priority. I do not ask or encourage them to come here.
This is a major drug corridor. He says how dangerous it is. Then bring the SWAT team, bring armored cars.
Reddy argues that he and fellow citizens are doing the job that law enforcement are failing to do.
We found over 22 abandoned vehicles out here.
As he scopes out the territory his group plans to defend, including this abandoned building he says is used by smugglers, he's also defending himself against critics who call his actions extreme and dangerous.
Critics are idiots. Obviously, they don't know what the hell's going on in the community with all the drugs.
But whether this is the answer to stopping drug smuggling remains as hotly debated as the immigration issue itself. Teresa John, KOLD News 13, live local, late break.
I'm not a crook.